Let's move you over. Good evening, everybody. Oh, stay. Lovely to see you all here, especially to know that you therefore are in the warm, or at least I hope that's the case. Nobody's sitting there watching in the freezing cold anyway. Thank you for joining me. We have got using up scraps today, because I think that's what we need to do. Use up the scraps, the bits and pieces that we've got. However, just bringing your attention, because they are not new, that the dies that I'm going to be using is the simple bow and scroll corners. And then for the various different paper pads that I have got, they literally are like handfuls left. And so, as I said, I'm encouraging you as well to use up what you've already got, because the papers are a very small amount of what we're going to do today. So subsequently, I've put those at up to 20% off, as there is just a few left. And as I said, the scroll corners and the simple bow, none of it is new. All right, so before you go panicking. Also to remind you that I'll be back on Sunday. Now, I did say that the sale would start at 7 p.m. But I thought about it and I thought, you know what? I don't want people to have to think that they've got to be sitting by their computer forevermore, nor do I want people to have to pay postage because they've picked up something that's a couple of pounds and therefore they've got to pay that again almost in postage. So subsequently, I thought, let's just start it all at the same time. There will be some brand new stock on sale, which I'll be demonstrating, and there will be some old stock that has been reduced, and some stuff that I've bought in just for the sale. So that's on Sunday, this Sunday, the 30th of November, starting at 6 o'clock here, but also on the website at 6 o'clock as well. Okay, so let me show you just some of the paper pads so you get the idea what I'm talking about. So this is so it's this sort of thing that we're going for. So I've got some of the festive collage left. Again, very, very few of them, I know, but there's that. There's the essential one, which I'm going to be using today. Let me bring that one. Sorry, not essential. Christmas craft, which I'm going to be using today. I've got some perfect Christmas verses left over. So they're not the trim me ones where you cut down at the back and you've got the measurements of your cards there. They're not those ones, but these are smaller ones. So you get 4 in there in gold and silver. So they're quite nice as well. And then varying different ones of the duo pads. So we've got Snowflakes, Winter Wonderland, beautiful quilted one. Of course, they are also something else on the other side, but I just love that quilted design. This one's a lovely one with something small here, which is the trailing leaves, but then you've got the bright blooms on the other side as well, depending on which side you fancy. And there are a few others as well. So they are all on a special offer for you, as I said, up to 20% off, because they are out of stock and not made anymore, most of them, on the website, on the suppliers, and therefore I thought you need them in your house as well. So, however, this little one, I am going to be using the scraps, literally the scraps from that Christmas craft section. So it's single-sided paper, but again, if you're using the duo one, equally, that's okay as well. But any sort of Christmassy type paper with, I would suggest, fairly small patterns, because these are going to be presents. And I'm looking forward to showing you my card. So let's make a start. We are at first going to be making a card on a 5x7 card blank, which I'm just going to crease that extra bit there. And I've already done some mats and layers. So I'm working in inches today because I can. I don't know why, no other reason. Oh yeah, nails. Look at these Christmas nails. Tartan thumbnails. Hardly in focus, really. Hold on, that's better, isn't it? Tartan thumbnails, and then glitzy, and oh, she's such a clever girl, my Sam, for doing that. So there you go. I thought I'll show you that close up as if you needed to see it. You didn't, did you? Okay, so I have got a piece of Christmas red card, and that one measures, let me just get the measurements right here, 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So let's pop that piece in first. So as I said, this is on my 5 by 7 card blank. Okay, so that's the first layer. Then I've got a piece of gold mirror, and I've cut that down to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So that goes in with quite a wide border to it, like so. Matching the red then, aren't I? And then a smaller piece of red card again, Christmas red, which is 4 by 6. So that's all of my bits and pieces there. So that's my main stage, if you could call it that. That's where I'm going to be popping all of my things onto. Okay, now I've already cut out my simple bows. So my simple bows, I've cut out 3 for this. Just take out the bits and pieces from Gold Mirror, and they just work out perfectly for what I want there. So that's 3 of those that I've cut out. And then I've taken my scroll corners, and I've just cut out 2 of those again in Gold Mirror. Okay, so I'm going to pop them to one side. Then I need to do a bit more cutting. So I'm going to grab another piece of red card, and I'm going to cut, let's have a look here. I'm going to cut a piece. Did I get that all in on one? Hold on a minute. No. Okay, I was trying to be clever, but I don't think I can be that clever. So let's cut it at 6. So I'm cutting it at 6 inches on there. Then I'm cutting a piece which is 3 1/2. So that's 3 1/2 inches by 6. Then a piece which is 3, so 3 inches by 6. And then a piece which is 2 1/2. So that's 2 inches by 6. Okay, so that's all my red pieces. Then I'm going to take my patterned pieces. Now, if I've got something like this one, where I've got some reindeer, leaping reindeer, I do need to make sure that when I'm going to put it on my piece of card in a minute, that it's the right way round. I can't have them, well, jumping off a cliff type of thing. I've got to have them leaping into the air, haven't I? And I need it that way round. So I think I'll make this one the top piece. So all will become clear in a minute. This one needs to be 2 1/2 wide. So let's just bring that in there. So 2 1/2 wide by 2 inches. You can see that I needed a tiny bit of card, didn't I? So that's 2 1/2 by 2. This one I'm going to have at 3 1/2 by 2. And then finally, this one I'm going to have at 3 by 2. Okay, so tiny pieces. If you are someone and that is not usually me, that keeps their scraps. You really just need just those little pieces. So not very much at all there. Okay, so I do need to do some scoring though. So lots of people have mentioned this. I have the Hunky Dory. This is my Hunky Dory paper trimmer, and it comes with 2 of the mauve cutters. But I've taken another, this one happens to be Vasen, or I don't know how you pronounce that, sorry. Maybe Vasen, sounds a bit posher, doesn't it? Anyway, whatever. I've used one of their scoring tools. So it just fits in there. It's kind of a generic runner there. So I want to have a scorer on here. So hence why I've done it. Okay, so I'm now taking my little pieces of paper and along the short edges, so I'm going to turn them round that way. Excuse me. I'm going to take my scorer. I've actually put my cutting piece right down the bottom here, so I'm not tempted by it. Okay, so I'm going to turn that over and I'm going to score these at 1 inch, so in the middle. Now it is paper, so I'm going to have to be a bit careful that I don't go overzealous with my scorer, because paper obviously can tear. So taking them all on the long edge and scoring them all at 1 inch, so that they are now all ready to go there. Now these little ones. Now let me just check on my measurements here. So they're all going to be scored in the same way. They're all 6 inches long. So that's the side that we're doing it, along the long edge. So I'll start off with the larger one first. And I'm going to score this one, first of all, at 1 inch. Then I'm moving it along to 2.5 inches. I can press a bit harder here because I've got card now. Then I'm moving it along to 3.5 inches. And then I'm moving it along to 5. And I'm going to do that with all 3 of these pieces. So again, it's scoring it at first at 1 inch, at 2.5, at 3.5, and 5. And one more, and again along that longer edge, the 6 inch edge. Oh, let's just straighten that. So it's at 1 inch, 2.5, 3.5, and 5. I've also cut, did that before as well, from Gold Mirror Card, just 1/4 inch. Now that is far too much. I don't need all that much. I actually need 4.5 inches altogether, but it was just a thin strip off of a scrap piece that was just about to throw in the bin. And I told you I'm all about scraps today, that I just wanted that little bit as well. Okay, so that's 1/4 inch, and I actually need it 3 pieces at 1.5 inches, but I'm okay with chopping them from that. So now let's get some scoring, burnishing done. So I'm taking my burnishing tool, and every piece I'm going to give a nice crisp finish to. Wondered how many of you are still making Christmas cards, or even have you started? Some of you will have finished, I know. But yeah, it's getting this time in a month, it'll all be over, won't it, eh? All be over. Although it won't for me. My Christmas won't have quite started yet. So yeah, that'll be good as well. Now, I'm then going to take these pieces and very carefully, because they are only paper, these ones. Oh, can't see the fold there. There you go. Just going to fold these as well. So I'm going to make these into little sort of tubes, really. these pieces. So I'm going to get my glue and I'm just going to simply stick those two pieces one on top of another there. So that gives me sort of a pillar or a tube. Could obviously, whoops, if I can get hold of it, you could obviously put red liner tape or something like that on it. But for me, the glue works just as well today. So just hold that in place. And the same with this one. And again, just hold that into place. So you've got your sort of tube there. Still doing Christmas. Yeah. Christmas cards are all made and going in the post this Friday. Shirley, I don't think I can speak to you now. No, it's no good. Going in the post this Friday. Oh, my lordy. Some people. Oh, no. Well, I have made loads, as you can be aware of that, but I haven't got around to sort of make, you know, actually doing anything else with them. Right, I've now got 3 tubes. I'm now going to take my coloured pieces of card and I'm going to put them, let me just see, I wanted to sort of cover the join. So where that join is there, I'm going to put this over it, not for any other reason other than that just makes it sure that all my corners will look nice and tidy. So I'm going to put glue onto that bit there and then glue just because it doesn't reach, it's not supposed to, all the way around. It just fits onto there like that. Okay. So just on those 2 sides there. Then take my next one and I'm going to do exactly the same. Find my untidy corner, if you could call it that. Put glue on that bottom bit and then on there as well. And then just stick those down. And then finally, with my little reindeer. So again, finding my untidy, unfinished corner, glue on the bottom bit, up as far as that bit, and cover up that as well. Okay, can you see what I'm making yet? I hope you can. I hope you're beginning to see, because what I'm actually going to be making is some presents. Okay, now I'm going to put the little strip on now whilst it's easier for me to work with, but you could put this on afterwards. It's entirely up to you. So each of these, if you recall, this measurement was 1.5 inches. The depth of these little boxes are all the same and they're all 1.5 inches. So if you recall me saying I cut a strip which was 1/4 inch wide, and then I'm going to cut each one of these. Could do it the other way. Let's do it the other way because that would be easier for me. So when I say the other way, I'm using the measurements on this side. So 1.5. Whoops, a daisy. 1.5. And 1.5. So as you could see, I didn't need that whole piece. It was just easier to cut. Bang wallop. So I'm going to bring in my little gifts again, and I'm going to put my strip as much as I can in the middle. So I'm going to start off with the one at the bottom first, and that is going to be roughly, you reckon that's roughly it? I think it is, isn't it? Obviously I've got lines there, so I want to sort of marry them up with the lines. So if I then put that one there, again, we're going for the middle. And can put that one in there. And then finally, this little one in here. Oh, oh, oh. And again, roughly in the middle. So that now that's all joined in. Just hold them a bit more so we get them firmly. Now, very simply, I'm going to add them to my card front. So I'm going to start off with this one. I do want to just make sure, which they are, because I've burnished them, I just want to make sure that they would open and fold in any way that we ask it to do so. And I think that by using a burnisher or a scoring tool or anything like that, it really makes sure that that is what's going to happen to them, because if you use anything too thick, it won't work quite so well. So in terms of where I'm going to put the glue, I'm going to put the glue on the back here, but I'm going to bring it right down to that edge. So that line here is going to be right onto that red line, that smallest frame there. So let's just put some glue on. I'm going to pop that, center it up, marry up that very bottom edge. I can fold that down so that I can grab hold of it. Whoops. And just hold on to that for a second. I'm jealous as well, Sheila. I'm jealous that Shirley's done all her cards. But on the other hand, you know, you can go off people, can't you? That are so organised. Right, I'm going to then pop my second one. I'm going to put the glue on the back, just the same. And I'm going to go, hold on, I need to look at it over there. I'm going to go like that. Again, just press them down so that we know that they are firmly put on there. When we bring that down, can you now see where we're going? We're stacking our presents. I'm going to go with the last one. And then pop that. Again, need to look at it. In the middle, on top of there. And then I'll just fold that one down as well so that we can see where they all are, so that when we bring them up again, we've got our proper little boxes there. So very much a 3D card, but folds again virtually completely flat. Let's just finish it off with the lovely bows though. So each of the gold bows is going to go up at the top. I'll put a little bit of glue sort of in that middle bit, but also a little bit to the edge. And that one sits in there. That gives it two chances to grab, if you see what I mean. Same with this one. So glue in the middle. And then just hold on to it for a second, bearing in mind that I'm putting, oops, let me just press it down. I'm putting card onto a shiny surface, so it does take a little bit longer just to dry. And then finally this one here. So again, a little bit of glue. X marks the spot almost, isn't it? And I can hold that down there. Presents, you're quite right, June. 3 beautiful little presents. And then I'm going to take my need my meat baster. My little scroll corners, as I said, I just felt it needed a little something, but nothing overly much. I didn't want great big corners that were snowflakes and things like that, which are wonderful, but we don't need anything quite so fancy, I didn't think, here. So I'm just going to take a scroll corner and pop this up at the top. Let's press that in. And then, oops, I think I need a little bit more glue there. Just pick up the glue, and it just, with the good old meat baster, just puts the few little adhesive dots where we want it to be. And then that one in, whoops, that corner. Try and marry them up so they are both the same. And there we go. There is our stack of presents. Shame there isn't gold rings in it, but I do reckon that you could hint, and you could always fit one in there, don't you think? Fit a nice little box that goes in there with a surprise of your diamond ring. I mean, I'm ever hopeful, and it hasn't happened for the last 9 years, so you know, but there you go. So a card that folds, as I said, virtually completely flat. I'm trying not to move this too much because they're not quite set, but virtually completely flat, and yet we've got a lot of going on as well. And use your scraps up. So use the only thing, I do think that the bow makes it. I do think that the bow looks really lovely on it, and the bootlace bow that we had it's too this is what I've said why I've called this a simple bow, because it literally is a simple one, whereas the others it would have hung down too much. So there you go, something a bit different for you, using those scraps that you may already have, and if you haven't, go and grab yourself a bargain whilst they're there. So yes, thank you very much to everybody that's saying thumbs up. Tartan thumb down here. It doesn't matter if you haven't got a tartan thumb. Down here somewhere, please. Thumbs up would be really great. Thank you for all of your positive comments. That's really lovely. I'm glad that you liked it. And also I can see lots of my friends are going to be joining me on Saturday in person, real people in person at our workshop, where we have got, well, as always, but oh my goodness, I can't wait till they show you what we're going to do. They are going to have a wonderful day, and look forward to seeing all of the folks there on Saturday. That's in Chichester in West Sussex, which is the last one, of course, this year. And the workshops, the in-person workshops, open again in March. So there you go. Christmas presents card, I think, is the name for this one. Yep, June, thank you very much. I hope I haven't made it too complicated, but at least it was only one this time. So there you go, folks. Have a great rest of the week. I look forward to seeing some of you on Saturday, real people, and the rest of you also real people, but I can't see you. So let me know you're there by a good old thumbs up on Sunday at 6 o'clock. All right, take care till then. Thank you for joining me. Bye.